Hi, Amy.
Maybe.
We just watched 90 Day Fiancé, Season 12, Episode 9. Any thoughts you'd like to share initially?
I really liked this episode. I found it very interesting. I laughed a couple times. I did miss Maxwell's mom. That was the biggest
Hmm.
drawback for me, but it was entertaining, not overly dramatic. What were your thoughts?
I enjoyed it as well. I really did. I was slightly disappointed that we didn't get to see Mito and Debbie this week
Mm.
because I want to know what's happening since that terrible last couple of episodes. I don't know when we're going to get to see them again. I didn't get to see a preview of next week. Did you?
No, I didn't get one either.
All right. Well, in the meantime, I just wanted to make a quick note to our listeners. You may have noticed in last week's podcast, for the very first time, we've had ads. The reason for this is that this podcast, which we love to do, personally costs us about $300 to $400 a year. That's going up this year, probably around $500. We don't want to make you, our listeners, pay for it. So we decided that it's time to get some ads into our podcast, which we hope will generate some revenue and pay the podcasting bills from now on. So please stick with us. We're still delivering our same podcast. We're still committed to giving you the best 90-day insights and laughs that we can. And we thank you for your patience.
Thank you. And we're not looking to quit our day job, so the amount of revenue that this is going to get us will probably be maybe enough to cover the platform. So this isn't a huge thing for us monetarily. It's really just to keep us going and to not hurt our pocketbooks.
Exactly. And if we had, let's say we had 1 million listeners, which we don't, obviously, but if we had 1 million listeners and we could get away with just one ad per episode, we would do that.
100%.
But we need to generate enough money to pay for all of the software and stuff that's behind the scenes that you don't get to see. So bear with us. Anyway, let's get to it. First, 1 and 2. 1, listen to the podcast. Yes, of course. Also, rate, review, and follow us wherever you do listen to the podcast. 2, watch us on YouTube at 90 Day Fiancé Honestly. And now we may begin with Marissa and Edward.
His excitement was so palpable. He was, I don't want to say childlike with his excitement, but he really was. It was just so sweet and so genuine. I really enjoyed seeing his wondrous eyes, or the
I,
wonder in his eyes.
yes, I couldn't tell if he was more excited about seeing the skyline of New York City for the first time or the automatic motion sensor garbage can. Which one got him more enthralled? I don't know.
I'm not entirely sure, but at first I thought it was one of the motion sensor ones. Or no, not the motion sensors, like one of the step ones.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, well, that's not nearly as exciting. But then when I found out that it was the motion sensor one, I was like, And you could see her irritation building as
Yes.
well. The same thing, like with the tap. Sorry, I got cat hair flying everywhere. With the tap, she was like, okay, well, now you've triggered it twice. Now it's going to take longer to go down. Okay.
I know. Why can't she just enjoy his wonderment for a few seconds and then move on? Yeah, I agree with
She
you.
has more patience for him.
No, and she has no
Interest.
capacity to engage with an adult on a playful level, it seems. Anyway, they go on to this dinner date, if we can go there, unless you
Sure.
have something else you want. Right. So they're on the dinner date and he looks completely checked out. He is not there. And it seems like he's feeling what Marissa's ex-husband had warned him about when he talked about how she and her family have everything. They have unlimited resources, just about.
Yeah.
And Edward has nothing. And so he's really feeling this disparity of experience and ability to do stuff and have things because he comes from such a humble background and she is so privileged.
Yeah. Felt really bad for him in this moment. And like, I appreciated the fact that he vocalized that to her and said that, she was being really controlling. And her response was that she was looking for certain things in a strong man. And yet she was the one that moved him there. Just like, well, 90 days isn't long enough for me to make that decision. But like, you've already known him for how many years and you decided to bring him here? And then she goes on to say, if I don't tell you how to do things or whatever, then you're not going to learn how to do it. As if he's completely lost in life and he's never learned how to do anything on his own, doesn't learn from experience or anything. It was just so incredibly condescending. And then she polishes off with, I've yet to see you being successful in life at all.
Ouch. That is the knife in the back. She was quite strong with him, to use her own words, saying that she's looking for a strong man, which obviously she's finding that he is not. I thought was very, very difficult, very problematic. A lot of men will feel emasculated by that kind of a
Yeah.
comment. They'll feel emasculated by the fact that she, the woman, is holding all the power, making all the decisions, and wielding the control in the relationship. So, good on Edward for coping with that to this point. But I thought it was interesting. She seemed to be acknowledging the fact that she recognizes he's not doing stuff on his own, but she also recognizes that he doesn't know the patterns or the schedules yet. And so he's not able to do stuff on his own. He does need somebody, her specifically, to teach him the ropes, at which point he should be able to take over and do things on his own initiative. So I
Yeah.
thought that there was a little bit of acknowledgement there that was important on her part, learning the routines, the scheduling, the parenting, all of that stuff. He doesn't know that. He has no access to that knowledge except through Marissa.
Yeah. And she said something about how she was hoping that he was going to be more prepared. But how is he supposed to be prepared to live up to her unilateral, unspoken expectations?
Yes, anything that's unspoken is definitely hard to live up to. I think everybody can relate to that.
And
But the bigger
so
problem for him, I think, is that throughout all of this, the bottom line is he's not feeling respect. And we know already from, was it last week or the week before when he was speaking to Marissa's mom, that feeling respect from his partner is of utmost importance to him. But, I hate to point out the obvious, but maybe he should have thought about this when he chose somebody who was incredibly, highly independent, who doesn't rely on anybody else for her career, for bringing up her children. She is
well,
completely self reliant. Well, yes, I know there's a caveat about the money comes from mommy and daddy. Yes, I know that. However, in her current circumstances, in the way she is right now, Marissa is entirely independent and does not need any. So it's kind of tricky. He chose somebody like that, and yet he wants to be respected and have the control, be the manly man.
and this is kind of reflective of the whole Katie Josh situation. Like, I'm really waiting to see any kind of redeemable characteristics from Marissa. Why did Edward? Yeah. Why did he choose her as well? There has to be something. He seems like way too innocent, way too genuine to just be after a green card. I don't get that from him in any capacity. So there has to be something. I'm not sure
Mm.
what that is.
And yet, we know because you sent me a copy of the post that Marissa's mom made in response to people who were making disparaging comments about her on the episode that she was included in. And
Mhm.
she mentioned something about the fact that Edward had previously been engaged to an American woman and was about to move to the United States to be with her, much as we see him doing now with Marissa, but something went wrong and it didn't happen.
He
Am I
decided not to.
okay? So he decided not to. Interesting. That's like his side of the story, right? So we don't know what exactly occurred, but I still think there might be an element of the green card attracting him to the United States and to Marissa. I think that.
It could be. It could
Mhm.
also be, he's exposed to a lot of tourists from the US and
Yes.
no,
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
mean, it could be legitimate that he's fallen in love twice with American women. Who knows? Anyway, we see in this episode that he and Marissa go to her workplace, Kleinfeld's. He gets introduced to all the people that he's previously only met on video, and that's kind of a sweet moment. I really enjoyed that.
I thought that was so sweet. He's like, I feel like I'm famous. Everyone's like, oh, it's so nice to meet you. And, all the customers are looking over. Oh, who is that? I thought that was, it was really adorable. And I think he really deserved the attention. And I thought everyone was just so lovely for him or towards him. And then Marissa's like, it's really, or it's easy to navigate through New York. You just have to pay attention. And then cut to him walking around, and he's, staring at the skyscrapers and the massive billboards, and he almost trips over one of those metal poles. And same dude, same. I do that here, and I've lived here for years. I do that in my own apartment. Like,
Yeah, well,
where'd
the
that
thing
wall
about
come from?
doing that in New York City is that nobody notices you. Nobody cares.
Mhm.
So he's fine. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you are also fine in your apartment.
Mm.
At least I hope so. But, it's very sweet. He goes off to have this adventure on his own in New York City, first time, but he's not really alone. He's got the camera crew with him. So I always have that in my head. Like, okay, so he's venturing off to have this grand adventure, but there's probably 3 or 4 people with him tagging
Mhm.
along.
Yeah, I loved it when they just, like, let him go into the crowd, and they were, like, further back, and he's like, "Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry." "Ooh, you got the Canadian in you, don't you?" And you know what I else found very enjoyable was when Marissa was like, "Where did you say, or where's that cash? Didn't you say you put cash in my purse?"
Mhm.
"I thought he left all of the cash and his ID at home. What is with that BS?" She looks for 2 seconds and he finds it. He's like, "Here it is." So what is that?
It's a moment of retribution. It's karma because because she was on his case about him forgetting everything at home and telling him, "I've looked in my purse 6 times and I haven't found it."
Yeah,
And then he just glances in it, pulls the cash out. So a
it's
lovely
right
little
where I put it.
moment.
It's
Yeah.
right where I put it, in your purse, not my pocket.
Anything else for these two, or shall we read on?
No, I'm good.
Mallorie and Rasheed are up next.
Let us
Oh,
rejoice. They got a bidet.
for a grand total of
$25. That
she
is a
got it
total savings of $775.
at least. That was the cheap version of the bidet at the bidet store. Wow. Where did she find this 25 bidet?
Online.
Well, yes, but what store? I want to know. And how long will it last? I also want to know that. Is it used? Is it a pre-owned bidet sprayer?
The one that I've purchased 2 in my life, both were gifts, and they were $40.
How could you purchase them if they were gifts? Explain.
I I bought them as gifts for other
Oh,
people.
duh. Yes. Sorry. Brain slow. Yes. Catching up now. Okay.
Yeah, so 25 is, American, so ish the same
Okay.
amount, so
All right.
that to me was reasonable. 2 things. 1, he was giggling about it, and he said, "Water love my asshole." That was hilarious. My whole family anal so clean. Always
When
comes
you
back to
said
that quote.
when you said my hole, I thought we were going somewhere very dark indeed. But I'm
No, no,
glad it
no.
was with a W, not
See
an H.
see if we need some captions for you. And
Yes.
then I wondered, did he install it on his own?
Yes. Now, this is the other wonderful thing about Rashid. Not only does he do the cooking and the cleaning and take out the trash, but he's also a handyman.
And we see that in his woodworking shop, but we'll get there. And so, I don't even want to talk about this part, but he brought her in, he showed her that it worked. Great. And then he proceeds, keep up with me here. He proceeds to grab the tools that he was using and puts them back in the shed where they belong. Doesn't leave his tools like just laying out. So, he installs this bidet, he puts everything back in its place. Again, the bar's low. Remember when he took out the garbage and we were like, "Okay,
Yeah.
bar's low." Thought
Well,
that
this
was,
is the quality of people that we see on this show on occasion. Not
yeah.
always, on occasion. Yeah.
And
So,
I'm not saying he's perfect. He's not out of the woods yet.
no,
Mm,
but
I
you're
mean, he
right.
does take
I
a turn.
I had not taken note of his tidiness.
Yes.
That was lovely. Okay, I just wanted to share one thing, which is when he was using the bidet, I enjoyed his happiness so much, and I love the fact that he wanted to share his butt joy with all the world. I've never been so happy for a bidet moment on 90 Day Fiancé, and you know there have been many, and I have not enjoyed any of them except for this one.
For him
So
to come out and be like, "You have to try it. You have to try it." She's like, "I don't have to go." He's like, well, even he was like, "Get out." She's like, "You have to go now." She's like, "I'm gonna try." Good for him. And, he wants to experience a product of his endeavors. Is that right? You know what I'm trying to
he
say.
wants to taste the fruits of his yeah, there's an expression there, but I can't remember what it is.
Right there between the two
Fruits
of
of his
us,
labor.
we
Fruits
might
of
be able
his
to survive
labor.
today. Okay.
Fruits of his labor. Okay, yes. So then they pass on to much less interesting topic and somewhat
Mm,
more serious, which is bills. Yes. Okay. So she does have bills. It is an important topic to discuss with your partner, significant other.
yeah.
The fact that he does have these handyman skills, though, I think it bodes well for their future.
Hmm.
Because if nothing else, he can earn money on the side somehow doing odd jobs for friends and family. There is stuff for him. And then if he needs to learn a trade or get a specific qualification, I'm sure he could do that quite easily.
Well, Mallory said that he has experience in carpentry,
Hmm.
and that is a very in demand trade.
Yes.
And she was on her list of bills. Just like we can't walk into Home Depot or whatever without it spending $100 and you being shocked about it. But like when you pan around the shop, like he's got so many different saws and chisels, and he's got quite a bit of things. So
Hmm.
uh, I don't know
I
where I'm
know
going.
it was a little bit unrealistic. I felt that she was kind of harping on him about the fact that they were spending all this money at Lowe's, I think it was, that was written on the piece of
Oh,
paper.
sorry, it was one of those handy places.
I know, I think she even said Home Depot, but, $700 at Costco, which was astonishing. I'm not sure if that's where she buys her groceries, but okay. And then over $400 at Lowe's to pay for whatever tools that he's acquired. And I'm like, okay, but those are things that he's going to earn money from later on, or that he can earn money from later on. And he doesn't have to buy them every month. It's just he's bought them once, now he has it, and he's good. So maybe he's going to slowly add stuff. So it's a bit unrealistic to be saying this month is so expensive because next month may not be.
I really like tying in the couples together. I think that Mallory needs to have a conversation with Thomas because these purchases are investments.
They are complete investments.
And her complaining that her grocery bill has doubled was just like so nonsensical.
Yeah.
There are now two mouths to feed. Oh, I
Yes.
would just think that.
Yeah. So he mentions that wanting to send $100 to $150 to his family every month, which is a bit ridiculous because they're on a very tight budget. Mallory's paying for everything until he gets his green card and is able to work. That's assuming he's not working illegally or under the table in the meantime, because maybe he's building furniture and she's selling it on his behalf. Like, who knows? However, I forgot where I'm going. Where am I going? Oh, yes, the $100 to $150 a month. So wait until he's earning money and then he can send money back home. Yes, reasonable.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I think this is kind of production pushing them a little bit to bring this up as an issue now when it really should not be.
My issue is that it seems as though they've never discussed it before. And yet, like to your point, we've seen this time and time and time again with these couples like, well, no, we need to send money back to my family, obviously.
They did
But yeah.
mention it once when she was in Turkey and they were driving to the
Okay.
airport. He said something about wanting to send some money
Oh,
to
in the
his
car.
family.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that seems like a stupid issue to me. I don't really see the point of that until he's earning money at least. And then the other thing, because freaking constant in the 90-day universe, somebody has to bring up the prenup. This is utter stupidity to me. Obviously, they've been set up. She does not have this in mind. And this is just so that they can have a fight. because otherwise they're not really fighting. They're such a great couple. This is a complete and utter redundant bit of nonsense. When you get married, and I checked for Alabama specifically, when you get married, everything that you own before you get married is still yours if you get divorced. Everything that you accumulate while you're married is divisible 50-50 more or less. But everything that is hers will still be hers if they got divorced. So shut the fuck up. Sorry. I just had to say it.
For
What?
once,
Okay. Yes.
I had a different view.
Okay, tell me.
No, I thought it was great that she's trying to protect her assets and she's like laying it, like she's like carving that in cement. Like, this is mine and this is mine. Whatever you have is yours. So she's protecting herself. And he's all like, oh, you're thinking about the end of the marriage. And she's like, I'm thinking about protecting herself. Like, who knows how much money she had in that settlement?
Yes.
It could be production. I don't know, but I'm just going to go with it. Like, he's almost seems entitled to her money. This is the second time that he's brought it up. Well, you have that money. Why don't we put it towards this or towards this? We can use some of it to pay or to give to my parents, blah, blah, blah. And you know how much I support a prenup and a postnup. Anyway, marriage is a contract, period. From a legal point of view, it is a contract. Done. Protect yourself in any way that you see fit. And, it could go one of two ways. Either one, your partner agrees, I guess three. One, your partner agrees, one, they don't, or there's a compromise. And I can see it from both sides of things. You don't want to sign a prenup because you're like, I don't want to plan for the end of this relationship. Though at the same time, if you don't plan, or if the relationship isn't going to end in your mind, like that is just it's just never going to happen, then what's the point in signing a piece of paper? You're not going to lose anything by signing it.
Mhm.
It's just a safeguard.
Yeah, I totally agree with you for all of those points. My difficulty in this episode is that they're making it sound as if when they get married, Raçit will automatically be entitled to half of everything that Mallorie owns, which is not the case. Her house will still be hers. But anything that they accumulate, like if he started paying towards the mortgage, then he would be entitled to that portion of the mortgage that he was contributing to since they got married. And
Yeah.
the money that she received in the settlement, that would still be 100 hers unless she decided to put that in a joint account, in which case, gray territory, yes, he may be entitled to half of it. So there is a way to enter into the marriage for both of them without doing a prenup, which I agree with you. It is a great thing to do, a wonderful protective method of saving yourself the trouble later on. But if they went into the marriage without one, she would still own her house. She would still own her settlement money, and he would still own whatever the heck it is that he owns, which is not clear at this point. So
Yes.
that's why I feel like it's all made up. Anyway.
People argue with me about that all the time. And
Okay.
you know me, put it in writing.
Yes. Yes,
Put it in
ma'am.
writing. Protect
Will do.
yourself. How many times have I said that? Okay. Anyway, let's move on. I don't want to get
Yes.
into contractual details.
No. Paula and Thomas up next. Shopping issues. Shopping.
I quite enjoyed their segment. I mean, the very beginning was I noticed a difference in the cadence of the way that he spoke when they were out on the balcony and she was just begging him for a compromise. It sounded so rehearsed, like
Okay.
almost like he was reading from cue cards. And it felt like she was communicating very effectively. She just wanted some sort of a compromise. And she said, just, like, please acknowledge me. And he eventually relented, which I thought was, produced. Maybe they had to film that several times, which we've seen happen before. But I think one of my favorite parts of this entire episode was when they did like their little interview thing and they looked at each other. What did they say? The bee's eyes. They like looked at each other.
Yes.
I thought that was so friggin' cute. I'm not sappy in any capacity, but it was it was so adorable. And you really got to see like how the two of them work together and just like that genuine love. And we've said this time and time again. Well, I mean, you started this with this couple. I wasn't on board at the beginning. We'll get to that. But it was so genuine and just I loved it.
For me, it was when they started hugging after their argument. I think that said it all, that encapsulated it for me, that this couple can communicate, work through
Mhm.
their problems, and still have love for each other, still communicate with affection and care towards each other. Beautiful.
But
Really,
yeah.
really, really, really lovely. Then the next thing where they go to visit the Queen Mary, at first I thought, oh, this is a fun date. I didn't realize that the purpose of their trip was to scout out the Queen Mary as a wedding venue.
I thought it was fun the way that she was like, there were ghosts here. And I was like, go on. Please go on. And then they were talking about the wedding venue. And I'm like, I would 100%, I'm going to say I'm 100% on board for that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Touche.
Don't judge me for that.
Perfect. Yes. So that was another beautiful scene. But then we have to balance it out, I guess, with something terrible, which is his family. The jealousy of his stepmother over Paula having met Thomas's mother first and having gotten along with her, which you would hope that your potential daughter-in-law does with all of the in-lawed parents. It's absurd. Why does this woman get jealous and not like Paula and cause such tension that they have to immediately leave, even though they're visiting all the way from California to North Carolina? I'm talking about previously, not in this episode.
Hmm.
This is wild. I've never heard anything like this before. Have you?
But not from this couple.
No, but just in general, like parents and step-parents getting so jealous of one another that you're not allowed to show that you're actually having a good time with them.
Yes. I have seen that
Mm.
before. Like the other side cannot be happy
Ugh.
because then that means that it's almost like a comparison. Like if your ex-wife is happy and enjoys your future daughter-in-law and I don't enjoy the daughter-in-law, does that mean that my relationship isn't as good as hers and our relationship is even better? So, yeah, it's the mental gymnastics.
Dear God.
Yeah.
So
I
narcissistic.
I felt so bad for for him when he brought that up. I didn't see that coming. So, great on the producers and the editing or story like I did not see that coming. And I
Mhm.
felt so bad for him because it's like when she asked, "Is your family gonna come?" I'm like, "What do what do you mean?" Like, I actually did that
Yeah.
to my computer. What do you mean? Like, why wouldn't his family come?
Yeah.
And without knowing the full story, I'm like, if his stepmom has that big of an issue, she can stay home and then his dad can still come. But maybe his
Exactly.
stepmom is that controlling. Oh god, okay. So, but I just want to say that the boat was absolutely beautiful. I I loved the way that they both seemed so happy and she was like, "I love everything about this." And how much do you this is so stupid. How much do you wanna bet she didn't buy a little boat, the little mini
Yep.
Titanic or, like, whatever. She probably didn't do that, but not to poo-poo on her little miniatures because you know how much I love them, but his family and his mother-in-law, stepmom, she needs to grow up and get her head out of her ass. This
Absolutely.
attitude is the quickest way to being cut out of their lives, and imagine if they have kids.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the way that it would go in a normal situation, that you would just have to abandon the stepmother and choose the relationship, the love, the marriage over that, because that becomes your family unit and you can have children and grow your family that way. Also
Mhm.
through friends and other positive connections. But the way that they're framing it, because it's 90 Day Fiancé, is that this couple, Thomas and Paula, will not get married unless everybody in the family approves and is happy for them, which I don't believe for one split second.
No, I don't. I don't believe that either. But
Yeah.
going back to the argument that led to them leaving that was outside of the show, I wonder why he didn't stand up for her at that time. Was he just avoiding the conflict, or was he gray rocking?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we could speculate until the cows come home. We don't know how and why he copes with Rennie, the stepmother.
Oh, is that her name?
Yeah, maybe he knew there was no point in standing up and that, like you said, just gray rock, just be
Yeah,
very,
don't waste the
very
energy. Mhm.
placid and not say anything and just yeah. So who knows? I mean, Thomas seems like a smart guy. I'm sure he knows how to handle his family, especially if Rennie has been in his life for a long time, and I'm not really sure how many years it's been that she's been married to his dad.
I don't know, but I found it very interesting how awful she was from the get-go. Yeah. That's really not like it's not a farm outfit, is it? Look at those boots. They harped on those boots for quite a while. And she's
In a
like, "No,
positive way.
well, they're more expensive than anything that any of them owns or better than any boots that anyone owns, and they're new, and she probably just bought them on the way." What does it matter? She knew she was going to the farm. She brought farm appropriate shoes. She wasn't wearing stilettos, which I would think Jasmine would do. But then
I
they
so
were sassing her outfit, and she's like, "I
I know.
I brought I brought different clothes. Do you mind if I go change?" But even that wasn't good enough.
Yeah, the way that the stepmother immediately attacked Paula for her clothes, and then Paula had to explain, "This is plain clothes, I have farm clothes." That was a red flag for me, and then when she put on the farm clothes and Rennie continued to find fault in what Paula was wearing, even though it seemed like Thomas's dad, whose name is also Tom was
Mhm.
saying, "Actually, she's fine, I'm sure it's okay." Like, he definitely seemed like the kind of partner who, if Rennie, is a narcissist, is just allows it because that's the easiest way to cope with it. So this
It's
is all kind of
fine.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Sure.
this is all kind of falling into place for me. Like, I see Rennie as the one who's gonna determine which way the family goes because everybody has to kowtow to her.
Oh, I had an idea. Sorry to cut you off. But, like, I wonder how long his stepmom has been around, because I wonder if Thomas and I mean, who knows if their conflicts are actual conflicts or produced, but if they're not produced, I wonder if he's being so stubborn because he doesn't wanna become like his dad. So he's like, "You're not gonna walk all over me, and I'm not gonna become like my dad. So I'm gonna be firm, and you're not gonna dictate everything that happens." Sorry,
Yeah.
that just came to
No,
me.
that's a great point. I hadn't thought of that, but yes, that could very well be that he doesn't want Paula to be a Rennie in effect, or he doesn't wanna be like his dad. Anyway, the other red flag for me with Rennie and Tom, but it's probably all Rennie when I think about it, is the having to clean out the sewage tank after they vacate the premises. And I thought, this is something new to me. Usually, when I go to somebody's house or I have a guest, I look after everything, cleaning the bathroom, making sure everything is nice and neat, clean, making sure they have clean bedding on the bed, fresh towels. And after they leave, I don't tell them, "Oh, by the way, you have to now clean the room, clean the bathroom." That's up
Pump
to
it
me.
out. Pump out the what is the thing? The thing that's buried. The sanitation tank? Pump that out. The
The
whole thing.
sewage. Yeah.
Yeah.
Clean all the toilets in the house, please. Like, the fact that Thomas and Paula have to do this, I mean, it could be a joke, but I don't think it is. After they stay in the trailer that they're living in while they're visiting his family, I thought that was a bit much.
It seems on par with Renee, is that her name? He may only visit if they stay in the trailer and they clean up after themselves, including the the sewage, the refuse, whatever you wanna
Yeah.
call it.
I wonder if they have to buy their own groceries and cook for themselves too.
And
Be
or they'll have to pay to attend the family barbecue. But
Jesus.
What really got me was, okay, so two things. She said to both of their faces, Paula and Thomas, I'm sure everyone will be happy when you leave. And then she says that Paula is obviously not a farm girl. You friggin' think. She comes from San Paulo in Brazil.
Yeah.
She comes from a heavily populated city. This woman does not live on a farm. Obviously, she is not a farm girl.
The long and the short of it is this is a problem, and I think it's a real problem. It's not a producer produced problem. Yeah. Let's read on. Catie and Josh. Wow, what a great start with Catie in the bathroom barfing her guts out in the toilet. I found this very apt.
Uncomfortable.
No, apt. I found it very apt as a metaphor for their relationship. She is virtually chucking up her entire relationship and sending it down the toilet because of what she did the night before.
Yeah.
And I found it really frustrating that she blamed the reason why she drank so much on the fact that it was stressful for her to have Josh and Ryan meet. Nice try. So it's their fault.
But also, it was her birthday, which would be different if everyone was buying her shots and she just randomly had to take those shots. But also, it's everyone else's fault that she drank too much.
Whatever the reason, once again, she's so bad at holding her liquor that she cannot remember anything from the night before and has to have Josh recount the details of everything that she did at the bar.
She asks him, what do you remember? As if it's normal to go to the bar and black out. Like, why is she the fact that she's depending on other people to fill in her blanks is like a huge concern. I honestly think that production should have cut this couple out and replaced them with another one because she really needs to go to rehab. Did you
Yes.
see the way that she was twitching? Like, that's a telltale sign of withdrawal and her just being like, last night. Well, it's not last night as because you're that hungover, but like she was twitching. And I've seen that firsthand from alcoholics. And
Mhm.
it was really uncomfortable and really sad to see. And, classic. It's everyone else's fault.
Mhm. Well, that
But
was the saddest part of it for me. Like, there was the actual visual appearance of Catie and how bad that seemed to be, how badly that presented. Like, we're definitely seeing an alcoholic. But then there's what she says and what she does or doesn't do. And she does say sorry to Josh, although it's not a very expressive sorry, it's just a sorry. She doesn't follow it up with anything like, you know what, next time I'm not going to drink as much. Next time I'm going to do better. I promise to stop drinking as much. Maybe we should have me on a schedule of when I could drink or how much. Nothing. No attempt to change, to fix, to remedy, to help. Nothing. It's just she wants to do what she wants to do. Drink, 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 kiss, kiss, kiss. And she also wants to be in love with Josh at the same time. What?
it's a typical night out. And she even said, I can love you, but also kiss everyone else.
No.
But then she also makes an issue about Ryan. Did I make Ryan uncomfortable or whatever? Like, she doesn't want to cross Ryan's boundaries. But
Yeah.
what about Josh's?
Yeah.
Shouldn't he be the first and foremost, other than your self-respect, which has clearly taken, the trunk, if not the cans in the back of okay.
She is like off the charts with the selfishness and the lack of social awareness, the lack of understanding for how her behavior is affecting others. The fact
Yeah.
that she, like you said, she considers Ryan and all the people, her friends first. Oh, do you think that they'll forgive me? Do you think that they're okay with what I did last night? I don't want to cross their boundaries. And she also puts herself before she puts Josh. This is what I want to do. I want to continue to kiss people and be in love with you. To damned be your feelings, damned be the repercussions that you feel from all of this. It's important to me that I go and kiss people.
And she also acknowledged that she's lost many friends because of this, and yet she's not going to do anything about her behavior.
Yes,
And then she starts
alcoholic.
going on about her this was so uncomfortable to watch, like her twitching. It was this was something that I wanted to fast forward,
Mhm.
but I didn't want to because who knows what's going to come out of her mouth. But, Josh, I'm really questioning his motives at this point because now
Sure.
he has a brand new desk, a brand new chair, and they still don't have a couch. She's sitting on the floor, probably the best place for her to be at this point, and he gets on the floor with her. So, on one hand, that's really great. He gets, you know, down to her level as opposed to like talking down to her. So that was respectful. But just the way that he was talking to her and he kept doing that like he would say something and do that like non-committal that little laugh that we've
Yeah.
seen before. Like when he was talking to Ryan outside, he would say something, but then the makes whatever he has just said like it like negated, kind of like when you apologize, but there's a but.
Mhm.
Do you
Oh,
get where I'm coming from?
I see what you're saying. Yeah,
Okay.
he does have that typical English thing where he doesn't wanna be too assertive because it might be construed as being rude.
Oh,
So
this man.
he'll make a point, but then he'll back off a little bit, waiting and making space for you in case he's crossed a boundary, in case he's overstepped, in which case, "Oh, dear me, very, very sorry." That kind of thing. That's where I feel that it's coming from. It's cultural for him, but it's also his personality. He seems to be the kind of person who is very, and I don't want to use the word malleable, but because that sort of has connotations of him being weak-willed. He's definitely not that. He's successful, he's made a life for himself, but he happens to be with this alcoholic woman.
I would say arguably he is weak-willed in his relationships.
Okay.
Maybe not in work, the separate like divisions of your life. Maybe he is very strong in what he does for a living, hence the desk and the chair and whatever, he's very stable in that aspect, but in his actual love life, no, he can't or he's not
Okay.
willing to or
Yeah.
something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
No,
But
I feel like he's a really good communicator because he talks about what he's feeling and he's talks about what he'd like to have happen in the future. He's very patient, he's kind, he's caring. He does, yes, also have that thing where he'll back off, and this gives Catie an opening not to make any changes, not to take his feelings into consideration, and to put everybody else before him.
But I think that makes him at least okay, this is gonna come off as very rude and strong perhaps, give me a sec, but he's not setting any boundaries. He's not
He's trying.
he is not enforcing anything. She's
That's true.
still doing whatever she wants to do. He is still sitting there. He could have left the bar. He could have tried to drag her out. He could have told a bouncer, "My girlfriend is way too drunk. Can we get her out?" He could have gotten her kicked out. There were so many different things that he could have done, but he chose not to for whatever reason. So there are things that he could have, but again, it's the confrontation. So maybe it is a cultural thing. I don't know. You know more about that than I do. I just, I really wish that he would have more self respect.
Okay, let's read on to Aisha and Maxwell first. Another dinner date. We find out that Maxwell has been aggravating Aisha all day. Isn't that nice when you tell your partner that they've been aggravating you all day?
When he's been negotiating cheaper prices, and she said that it was a turn on, but also not at the same time. So he's saving you money. But
Okay,
anyway,
so I
she
just want to point
disrespected him
out
in
this. She says he's been aggravating me all day, and he says, "Well, you haven't been nice to me." And we can see this. She is definitely not kind towards Maxwell. But
often.
her logic in this is astonishing. She says, "Oh, she doesn't have to apologize for her being mean to Maxwell because he was aggravating."
You do this because you make me. Classic abusive verbiage.
Yes, the toxicity of her language, of her behavior towards him throughout this entire meal. Like, we could go and dissect almost every single sentence that she said because it was so revolting and
It was
so manipulative. Every time he attempts to push back in an argument, she overspeaks on top of him. She pushes him further. She deflects. She takes it in a different direction. She points him, "You're culpable, you're guilty for this, you're guilty for that." It's like she's treating him like he's a naughty child, and he has to be taught a lesson, he has to be punished, and she's gonna do it because she knows best.
because she is akin to God, as we've
Yep.
said we've seen in several episodes, and, she keeps harping on the outside opinions. But, ma'am, and I use that term very strongly, ma'am, is your opinion not an outside opinion?
Mhm.
Why does he need to change everything about himself because of your outside opinion?
Yeah. I mean, for me, the moment when she tells him to hush was it. It was a, "You be quiet, hush, and go and you have to think about how you've been treating me."
You go sit in the corner.
What?
That's really what I'm gonna go to the bathroom and you think about what you have just said. I couldn't I mean, I can believe it because it came from her, but
Mhm.
this is coming like, she had just said or he had just said that he wants peace between her and his family, and hush, Omerger.
Yeah. So, like I said, I don't really wanna dissect the conversation itself because I just found it so disgusting. Her behavior towards him was truly reprehensible,
Yep.
abusive, and she wears him down basically with the way that she keeps talking over him, pointing out his faults. And it comes to the point where he has to tell her, "I choose you over my family," presumably. He doesn't even recognize, he can't even, I guess, take cognizance of the fact that she has just bullied him into a corner and he has no choice. This is the only option for him to say, "I choose you," and he thinks that he's making the decision on his own.
And I feel awful for him because, he has grown up with obviously very strong female role models, and yet he is like kneeling down in front of this woman who does nothing but cut him apart.
Yeah.
And it's so sad to see because, at first it seems as though he's like, I need you all to get along. Like, this is the thing. And then I wondered because, she keeps saying, all but the signs from God. Like, what if he did say, I don't want to be with you? Would she take that as a sign from God? Or is that a challenge that she needs to,
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge because everything she wants, she gets because God deems it to be hers.
even if it's something that he doesn't want?
Yeah.
And then how is it possible that they have this big disagreement during this dinner? And then now they're talking about them getting married on this trip. What in the actual F just happened?
Right.
He seemed to be doing so well, and then what?
That did really come out of the blue. I thought that she was going to insist that they try for a K-1 visa again, but I mean, that is utter stupidity. Maybe she already knew that. Maybe he convinced her. I don't care. Yes, the fact is now they're going to get married in Nigeria while she's there so that he can be brought to the United States on a spousal visa instead of the K-1. Great.
Mm, Another thought, I might actually put money on this. I'm not a betting person, but do you think that Maxwell's parents are going to approve of this marriage?
Ooh, that was a question that I had for myself at the end as well. And I don't know. I don't know if we're being set up for them to approve, despite all of the things that we've seen them object to so far, or if they will have any power at all and will actually voice their discontent over his choice of bride.
Well, I really hope, based on my newfound love for Maxwell's mom, I really hope that she puts her foot down and she says, Maxwell, no, you will not be doing this. Your father and I, even though he's the patriarch, your father and I don't approve of this marriage, and therefore you are not going to do this. And he says, yes, ma'am. And then what is she going to say after that? Anyway, let's move on.
Yes. Reading on to Shae and Annabelle, we have first of all Shae removing the furniture from his shed. That's great. He's taking steps to fulfill his promise to Annabelle.
It was only
Then,
a portion of the couch that he dropped off at the dump, but
right,
anyway, probably several loads.
right. Then we get a kind of an ultimatum from Annabelle. I'm not sure. Anyway, she says to Shae, he has to stop talking to Nicole from now on, which is an interesting to say to somebody who
Has a
has,
child.
yes, he has a child with her. So how on earth is that going to work? Anyway, he says, yes, I will do that. Okay. I guess
But
that's that solved.
but before that, he said, I did lie about his relationship with Nicole or, his interactions with Nicole. He said, I should have told you, but I didn't.
Mhm.
Well,
Yes.
d- dude, do you not follow your own? No, there's no thought process. He just says things that comes out of his mouth and doesn't realize the impact of what that means. Like, he just admitted to lying. Should have told you, but I didn't.
Hmm.
Like, Annabelle is in such a precarious position, and she's so sweet. I think
Hmm.
she's beautiful. Anyway, so yeah, don't have any contact with your, I think it's the youngest daughter's mom. I think it would be more reasonable if she said don't have any conversations with her outside of the kid, but I think the kid's an adult. So I don't think there needs to be any communication between the two of them.
I don't think so. I think the kid is like still a child, like
Really?
under the age of 10. I think so.
Oh,
Because they were married not too long ago and they were only married for a month. Something ridiculous. Remember? It
no,
was like
it
really,
was a
really
year.
short. Okay, whatever. A short period of time. Anyway,
I'm
they
wrong.
the next thing that they do is they go to Shay's lake house where he's hosting a party. It is his birthday. He talks about all the people who will be there, who happen to all be women. Go figure.
Mostly. First of all, the place looks beautiful. What a lovely cabin. He sends Annabelle into the house to do something so he can crack a beer and talk to
Allison.
Allison, and then he tries to blame Allison for lying about his relationship with Nicole.
Right. And Allison, taking right after dad, following suit, blames it all on Annabelle. Says she came to my house asking me questions, and that stuff is between y'all.
Why can't you just say talk to dad about that? That's
Right.
on you. And then Annabelle comes out, presumably after Shea has already smashed a beer. Annabelle, do your job. When
What's it?
Annabelle comes out with the broom to like brush off the
Oh,
tables and
yes.
yeah.
So demeaning. I did not like
Yeah.
that one bit. Do your
And
job.
yeah, and I felt like Annabelle took it in stride. She's like, yeah, this place is filthy. Whatever. She's gonna
Yes.
do it.
Yeah, and I think Shay even said after that, and you have to get a cloth to wipe down the tables or disinfect them or something. I was like, Jesus, man, you could go inside the house and get this stuff yourself,
And
help her out.
also you're telling this woman how to clean when this woman has to clean your body because it's so disgusting.
Yes.
Anyway, I absolutely loved the way that Annabelle had just become so cohesive with the group. She was doing Jaeger bombs, and I forget the other friend, but she's like, I think she liked the Jaeger bombs because she did too. Annabelle is having a great time, though. I think it was Ashley that said, she's having a great time now, but I don't think she knows what dad's like in his full
Allison.
glory. Well,
Allison.
what did I keep saying?
Ashley.
I don't know who that is.
Was Ashley
Anyway,
the name of his friend's daughter, the one that he was flirting with in front of Annabelle, saying, if I was 20 years younger, you wouldn't be here. I'd be with this woman?
and you'd get your own island. That was my last. I don't know if that was
Ugh.
the same one, but I, you know me with names. I met a lot of people today,
That the
but it was,
flirting with the other women in front of Annabelle was gross. I mean, this is getting into the territory of Catie. He's not kissing anybody yet. That's good. But he's definitely flirting with all these women. And it's just so awful.
and he's being gross because he's in his 50s and these women are in their 20s, 30s, and your fiance is right next to you. And
Hmm.
I'm sure that Allison, his daughter, is just
Yes.
eating that shit up like a bowl of gumbo.
I have completed all of my comments for this week. What about you?
One last one. Have you ever been to a party where someone has a random ass stage and a microphone and makes announcements, because they made an announcement for his birthday and the arrival of Annabelle, and they're like, "Happy birthday, Shae," and no one said, "Welcome, Annabelle."
The microphone thing was really weird. He said there were going to be 40 to 50 people there. It looked like there were 20 or so. I was like, couldn't they hear you if you just spoke in a slightly louder tone of voice without a microphone? Why is this necessary?
Main character syndrome.
Okay, that's a good call. I like it. A final reminder before we sign off that next week we will be doing our podcast with Nathan. So we're really looking forward to having another voice, another opinion. God knows how long we're going to chat for, probably 3 hours. Not really. But anyway, do tune in for that. I think it'll be a lot of fun.
It's going to be
So,
great.
yes. In the meantime, before we go, if you're enjoying the 90 Day Fiancé Honestly podcast, please subscribe to or give our show a follow. And if you have an additional moment, please rate us and help other 90 Day fans to find the show. Thanks for listening.
Thanks, everyone.
See you next week. Cool.